Hello, friends and adventurers! Recently, the internet has blown up around the drama surrounding pirate software and stop killing games. Now, I will not be covering it fully since there's already 100 channels doing just that. I'll just give you a brief rundown. So, Ross Scott, the creator of the Accursed Farms channel and creator of the Freeman's Mines Machinima series, spearheaded an initiative a year ago. That initiative is called Stop Killing Games. Now, essentially, it's a citizens' initiative in the EU, and it's not to be confused with the petition. This initiative, when it reaches 1 million signatures, will be submitted to the EU with one simple goal in mind: create and pass legislation that leaves games in a functional state after companies shut them down. Right now, game companies and publishers can sell you games, and if they decide so, they can at any point shut down the game and deny you complete access after you buy it. There is no apt metaphor to perfectly ascribe to this situation, but imagine that if you buy a few physical books from a digital store. Then a few years down the line, the store closes and somebody bangs on your door and takes your books away, and legally, there's nothing to stop them. The issue stems from gaming companies using terminologies such as purchase, when in reality they claim to sell you a temporary license to play the game, and which can be revoked at any point. Now, the moral problem is that such companies want to benefit from the renting system, while at the same time fooling consumers that they are selling a product which they own. They want to treat games both as goods and also something you rent. The Stop Killing Games initiative is meant to be a pro-consumer movement that passes legislation in the scope of allowing consumers to play the video games they rightfully bought after companies want to shut down the game. Now, imagine so many developers, artists, musicians working for years on a single game, and one day a publisher crunches some numbers for their investors and says, "Yeah, we're not making enough from this looter shooter, it's time to pull the plug." Oh, it's a single-player game with a multiplayer component that customers legally bought? Too bad. They can't play the single-player campaign either now, because we said so. Gaming publishers and companies like Ubisoft. You think this scenario is absurd? It's already happened. More than 100 times by now. Games like The Crew, which was a driving game, was a single-player campaign and it had a multiplayer option to play with friends. Ubisoft pulled the plug, shut down the servers, and prevented legal owners of the game to play it, even in single-player mode. Or other games such as Battleforge. We're basically entering a dystopia where we own nothing, and corporate apologists sing the same corrupt song that we never really owned anything. We just had a license for things. No? I am old enough to remember the 90s and early 2000s when, if we bought a piece of software, whether it was WinRAR or maybe a Photoshop license, that was for life. We bought the software forever. It was ours. Sure, we couldn't infringe on the copyright or we couldn't sell the license to others, which makes sense, but we had ownership. We had power. We lost that somewhere along the sea of corporate greed. Amongst dystopian shareholder primacy's self-serving ideas such as software as a service or games as a service, microtransactions, subscription-based software with multiple and expensive levels of access, which most companies can at any point deny or restrict your access for whatever arbitrary reason they invoke. We're in an anti-consumer era that means to leave us powerless to corporate greed and economic cruelty. But not all hope is lost. On the contrary, we have Stop Killing Games, the first stepping stone to get power back as consumers and citizens. So what's the initiative about in a nutshell? It requires video games sold to consumers to be in a playable state at the end of support. What it doesn't do? Well, as you can see in Ross's video, it will not force game developers to give up their IP, their source code, and they won't force them to host servers or require endless support. Just leave the game public for those who bought it legally so they can enjoy a work of art that shouldn't be deleted from the internet. It's just common sense, but apparently for some, it's not that common. Now, the needle is moving forward towards the 1 million signature goal, and you can help. The people who can, at the moment, vote for the initiative are European Union citizens only. Once it reaches 1 million signatures, the European Union is legally obligated to take the initiative up for debate in Council. But if you are not in the European Union, you can help spread the word. The deadline is the 31st of July, at the end of this month, at which point no more signatures will be allowed. Tell your friends, your family, your pets, your neighbor's cousin twice removed, if needs be, that this can become legal precedent that can have a long-lasting impact on software down the road, not just video games. And as for the pirate software drama, I don't really want to comment on the guy. I don't have anything good to say about him. There's documented video proof at this point of him acting anti-consumer, lying, manipulating the narrative, insulting Ross Scott, acting like a narcissist, and deleting comments and any evidence that paints him in a bad light. But the internet never forgets, so it is what it is. But, you know, we actually have this expression in Romanian for people like him. Loosely translated, it sounds something like this. If you kept your mouth shut, people would have thought you were a philosopher. You get the idea. To end on a positive note, you can make a difference. If you're in the European Union, please sign the petition. And if not, please help spread the word. I'm gonna put a link in the video description. Help us in this fight to pass legislation so the video games you buy will stay yours when some random corporate publisher decides you've had enough fun. Time to remove your access from the game you legally bought using the term purchase. You matter. And as for Ross Scott, not sure if you're gonna see this video, my friend, but for my own humble part, keep up the good work and keep up the good fight, Ross. You are a lovely person and we are honored to have you in our lives. Thank you, friends and adventurers. Until next we meet, remember, the most important story in the world is the one you fight for.